Good evening and welcome to the March 3rd meeting of the Barrington Planning Board. First, we'll start with the roll call of members.
Shepherd here.
Gabriello here.
Jesse, you're here.
Al here.
Driscoll here. Also, we have our town planner, Ernest Greveling, James Jennison, building inspector and code enforcement officer to my left. Next is item number 3, review and approval of the minutes from February 17th. Any comments?
I move that we approve the minutes of February 17th, 2026.
Second.
Roll call.
Shepherd, aye.
Gabriello, aye.
Jesse, you're right.
Al and I.
Driscoll, aye. Thanks.
Scott.
This guy. Yep.
This guy.
You've already been forgotten.
This guy, am I right? The co-captain.
I haven't left.
I know. I know, 22 days. It's drawn who?
I know, imagine when I get back.
Okay, item number 4. Map 121, lot 28, in the general residential district, with a revision. This is Todd Green, Barrington Shores LLC. Welcome.
Sure.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and the board. I'm Ray Bisson from Stonewall Surveying, and I'm representing Mr. Green tonight.
Is the green showing?
Yes,
Okay.
my
Maybe
voice is
pull it a little
bit,
closer.
my voice is a little bit hoarse, so it may, and I think Todd is supposed to be, okay. As he was a little concerned of driving in tonight. The revised landscape plan before you was developed using 2 guides. The discussion from the October 17, 2023 Planning Board meeting and the site conditions as they exist today. Since that meeting, the campground sites were lowered and the berm was constructed in many areas. The berm now exceeds the height of the originally proposed 8-foot fence and extends farther along the property line. During the October 17, 2023 Planning Board meeting, the board discussed that the new topography and fencing would be redundant, and that a green landscape plan providing similar protection to the original proposed 8-foot fence would be acceptable. That is the standard I used in preparing this revised plan. Where sightlines warranted, specifically near Mrs. Pantano's property, we're proposing a 6-foot fence with additional plantings to eliminate visibility. The new plan even eliminates her seeing the floodlight on the office. In other areas, well, let me just point that out real quick. So on the plan, blue lines, that's the sight line kind of from her house. So we have the fence right now going, here's the blue line, and there's the fence. And then the fence comes all the way up around this corner here.
Where's the house?
Her house is right here. Okay. In other areas where the berm reaches nearly 10 feet, vegetation alone would provide equal or greater screening, and fencing would be redundant. That's in this particular area. It's also, like, for example, down here, the Paradise House is at elevation 295. The house right over here is 306. The berm, at the base of the berm is 326. Right up here is 326. Right over here is 324. The base of the berm is 314. Just as a guide, as in height difference between the properties in the berm. And we're planning on putting this, these are a little bit lower shrubs as described in the application that we submitted. These are bigger trees, and these over here are the larger of the trees. Based upon the letters that we received today with respect to the Robinsons behind sites 1, 2, and 3, which is right up here. Originally, they were on board with the the project, and they really didn't have any concerns, but, you know, based on going through construction and now they can see things, they did raise a concern, and we basically are proposing to plant some of the trees right at the top of the banking in that particular area. The plan also includes berm stabilization, which I'm recommending it like a juniper ground cover, which once it grows, it's actually very hard to walk through. I know I do it a lot of times. It's not easy. And it's great for stabilizing the bank. And they'll also put signage on there that was going to say to stay off the berm. And they're going to update their rules to also state, you know, the berm is to stay up. They're supposed to stay off the berm. In my professional opinion, the plan meets and exceeds the screening intent discussed by the board in 2023 and responds appropriately to the current site conditions. Any questions I can try to answer?
In the photograph here with a 6-foot fence,
Yes.
what's the building behind the fence?
Oh, that's actually the office. That's the current fence that they actually have at one of, that's, I don't have what site number. That's the site in the Safari Field that's right by the parking lot. They actually have a fencing on those sites. So that's the fence that they want to do up by Mrs. Pantano's house.
Right. Because you can still see the building, seems to me, if it were 8
Well,
feet,
that's-
it would
that's-
shed.
but
it's
that's
your-
Yeah, that's the campsite. That's not looking at Mrs. Pantano's house. You know, that's just an example of what the fence will look like. And when we
another
actually had a meeting in, I think it was January 12th, where we met on site and we met with Mrs. Pantano and we discussed what we wanted to do. We discussed her concerns. Tim is here from the campground. He's over 6 foot tall. He actually walked up on the berm and she was able to see where he was in relationship to the window to kind of get an idea on height. And she was on board with what we proposed here tonight.
So I had another question. So for your giant, well, for either of them, the baby giant or the green giant, so they grow to pretty tall, but what size will they be when you put them in?
6 foot and
Oh, okay.
5 to 6 feet.
5 to 6 feet. And how long will it take to get to full height? To like,
Well, that varies because of obviously conditions, just, you know, sunlight, soils, all that. But they are the more rapid growers of the trees.
so
You
a
know,
foot a
but I-
year or average?
It could, I mean, actually, I have on the application, I mean, the thing that I submitted, there was the spec sheets for each of them. Oh, and actually, mine. And the one that I actually,
The green giant is 3 to 5 feet per year in ideal conditions, which I assume New Hampshire is not ideal.
right, well, I'm sure that means direct sunlight, full sun, all day sun, you know, nice soil, proper water. And all of these are supposed to be deer resistant, but we know how New Hampshire deer are.
One of the comment letters that we got, which had raised a concern, which seems to be valid, which is you're planting on these berms, but the roots are going to be in these berms, which the berms dry out very quickly because they, you know, so you could have the growth we're talking about. These are far from ideal conditions if you're going to be for a very dry summer and your root system's in a berm. You know, I would say no, it's not going to grow at the rate. I don't think it's going to make it at all. I think it would, some of the warm summers we've been having lately, the dry periods, seems like to me these are not going to survive very well.
Well,
Thrive.
note number 4, that's one of the revisions on the plan that you have. There's 2 revisions. One is the trees by the Robinsons. And then note number 4, basically I said replacement species may be substituted as appropriate based on site conditions and survivability, provided the intent of the approved landscape plan is maintained. So if they find that these are not working and a landscaper basically says, well, okay, that didn't work, we can use this instead, they can have the ability to do that. These are what was recommended for,
Why for the fall as opposed to doing it all before the summer begins?
well, phase one is basically from the houses. So from here all the way down.
Mhm.
Phase two is just to kind of work through here. I mean, there's a lot of debris still down in here that needs to get removed. But it's more, there's a time crunch coming up. We have a lot of snow on the ground. Get everything going on this. They still got to manicure the edge of this berm. This part over here is actually pretty good. This part still needs some work over here. So phase one is basically to block the phase two, which is basically once the campers are leaving, they're not in here with vehicles all day when they're basically trying to camp. So that's why we did it in two phases.
Because I think they weren't supposed to get occupancy, right? Yeah. Because they hadn't. said
They
this. So
do
you're-
not have occupancy currently.
Right.
Right, and so you're asking us to grant you the occupancy.
But
and-
After
the work's been done.
phase one, right,
to your point, Scott, they occupied it last summer.
Yeah,
right. And we've already kind of gone through that all the last meeting. But yes, so if it's part of the condition that, if they get phase one done, they have the occupancy, but if phase two is not done, then next year it's revoked,
is it
then,
possible to do it in phase one? All of it is one phase?
I mean, they may be able to, I don't know. Todd asked me if we could do it in the two, just because of timeframe, because they also need to have to get the campground up and running. They got all the bathhouses, so there's a lot of springtime maintenance that needs to be done. So if they can concentrate on this and then work on the campground, they can work on this, when it's not.
I don't know, it's giving a lot of lenience to somebody who's had time to do things and didn't do it. I don't know. Should we open it to public comment? I'd love to hear from
Yeah,
others.
if you guys are done, they can. Sure.
Well, one quick question.
Sure.
Jamie, the original plan was 8-foot fence, right?
Correct. I can,
Jamie, you also had comments on the stormwater.
I was under the impression that we were talking about the stormwater tonight as well. And
I was under the impression that got approved last meeting. We were just need to get this done.
okay, I'd have to review my notes. I may have been mistaken. I didn't refresh my memory on that, but, I have two letters, one from the Rosemary Lane Association, that's part of the record. I think everybody has it in their packet. I won't read the whole thing. Does anybody want me to read it? Unfamiliar with it? And another one from Matt Niswender. I apologize, I always butcher your name. Reiterating the same thing from the original plan. And I don't know if anyone is online.
Here.
That's
I think
it.
there were actually three letters.
I will let you speak for yourself then. I didn't realize you were in the audience. I apologize.
Yeah, if you're done, Jamie, I'll open it to public comment. Open to public comment. Anybody like to speak? Give you 3 minutes.
Hi, is this on? Matt Nicewinder, Rosemary Lane. We have roughly 12 houses on our road. And as you have in your packet, our group decided to write a petition against this current plan that was being proposed because we met twice with the campground and we were hoping to come to some good common ground. And originally, the initial plan had a fence that went around most of the perimeter. And I was told that, that was the plan that was approved originally. And, it was supposed to have plantings. It was supposed to provide protection. It was supposed to be barriers. And it was an 8-foot fence with plantings around it to sort of delineate the area between commercial property and residential property. And we still feel very strongly that that needs to be done. Our petition asks for the town to not give the campground any leniency towards this new plan because they have not showed good faith. They have not showed good faith. They have occupied the space without permits. There were no rules in place last year when the campers were there. We had campers that were climbing the berms. One of the letters says that one of the campers was looking in to some of the windows on the house standing on the berm, and this individual was fairly tall. And if you have a 6-foot individual looking over a 6-foot fence and they have binoculars in their hands, they're going to be able to see everything in plain sight. I'm not 6 feet. I could stand on my tippy toes and I could look over a 6-foot fence with binoculars. And that really upset the homeowner that lives in that house. We also had several other reports of people cutting through, going over to the dam, young kids, and, basically there is no barrier with this new plan. The bushes don't provide adequate conditions. I've done landscaping. I have my own professional business that I still run today. And I do private landscaping for high-end homes. I do rock walls, fences, and all kinds of stonework. And in my professional opinion, their plan to put bushes on this berm that is just full of stone, rock, and gravel, elevated, like Ron Allard said, to a point where there's no landscape, irrigation, the soil is poor at best, and it's not adequate for these bushes that they're looking to do. We also feel that they mentioned here again tonight and at previous meetings, the Robinsons who live at the very end of the campground where there is no protection. They added a note, which is in your packet, that said they never had any conversations with the campground. They never said that they were okay with what the campground is doing, and they feel like they got robbed out of this whole deal, especially if we go to this inadequate plan that they're asking for leniency on, because they had to dig down, they had to remove material, they removed a ton of trees where before there were a lot of trees, giving additional barrier with the 8-foot fence, with bushes, and it's just very concerning that the campground has not been willing to even, they did not want to bend a finger. And they said, we feel this is best for the residents, this is best for the campground. Well, it's cheaper for the campground, it's not best for the residents. And this plan is really just a way for them to have something in place so that they can get their occupancy permit, which they really shouldn't have, been using it last year, and there were no rules in place, and we had people, just doing whatever they wanted. It's just not cool. So that's why there are 12 homes signed on your packet by all the homeowners. One of them is Lucy Pantano's house, and that's the one where they are tending to focus on and give her what they think is the most. They're doing bushes and fence just because she's kind of the closest. But in essence, it affects the whole neighborhood, and it's on 2 full sides of the campground. So if you look at the plan, you can't really see it because it's... So Bruce Robinson's house is right here. And basically, when all these trees and the berms got cut down around here, there was a lot more forest and stuff. And the current plan shows a fence from here to here. The original plan then around the corner and went beyond to the Perry's house. So you're looking at a section of fence that's just totally missing. And, we think that, the town should not give any leniency because, they have inadequately planned. They're saying, well, we had to put the campers there because we ran out of money. Well, is that your fault? Is it my fault? Should we have to take another compromise when we already compromised on the first plan? And now they're asking us to compromise even further because they screwed up. So, I would like everybody to take maybe another read of this petition and look at the points that are out there and listed. Lutzi's house isn't the only house that can see that spotlight that he was talking about where the fence is. There's other houses that border this whole area and they can see that spotlight, especially during the wintertime. There is no trees, there's no leaves, there's no protection. And without having a fence and having very small bushes that may or may not even survive and make it is just kind of crazy. We're asking the board to think really, really hard about this because originally you had a plan and we all came to an agreement. We were all fine with it to the best of it. We made some concessions and that was what we thought we were getting. Now we're back up here again and, it just is very difficult and very upsetting to learn that these guys don't want to work with us. They think that this fencing portion is in our best interest, is the words right out of Ray's mouth during our meeting. I just am totally frustrated with this whole thing. I mean, this has been going on since 2021. And now every time they come back and ask for more and ask for more and ask for more, but they're just taking and taking and taking. And we're done saying, the buck's got to stop here. This is not acceptable.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Anybody else like to speak? Anybody online? Anybody online?
So what is the cost differential of just doing a whole
Let me
fence?
close public comment.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
What is the cost differential between just putting up a fence?
Putting up a fence instead of that vegetation.
Yeah.
They're probably fairly,
No.
he's,
Additional fencing.
well, the question he said was
Yeah.
compare versus, that's what he asked.
So the question is will any of the landscaping survive? And I agree, it sounds like it's gonna be hard. So I'm just trying to figure out, well, is it a huge ask just to do the fence all the way around? Versus planting all the trees, maintaining them year after year, replacing them, which I doubt he would do actually, given that he hasn't.
Yeah, I think that the fence is a better, to me, Scott, the fence is a good short-term solution. But trees and shrubs, if any people on the berm, they're much better for sound absorption, stuff like that. So to me, originally we had an 8-foot fence with shrubbery. I think that it's just a fence would be enough.
So
Okay.
to go back to, this was actually from the meeting and the planning board meeting, when you guys were doing the notice of decision back in October 17th, 2023. And I mean, it was very hard to get a transcript of it because Barbara couldn't get it. And I had to go through a whole bunch and watch the video to try to get things done. But in that meeting, Andy basically said, I think the new topography of the fence is redundant. This is where the landscape plan becomes a critical component. Right in there, because that's going to address the whole fence. Now, keep in mind that the wording and everything was very hard to hear, so there could be, some of the grammar. Vanessa said, so, but you feel like the landscape plan is sufficient. You want to see a new, Todd said minus the fence. Andy then said, no, I don't think the landscape plan is sufficient in its existing state because what is a landscape plan with design with the old system and to plug in the periodic trees, now all of a sudden you got a berm in there and you've got to account for the landscaping all along the berm. Vanessa said, what kind of landscaping would you, as the board, like to see in it? Then, like, how would you want them to use it? Because when this comes back, landscaping plan for the lake, if the chair is like, okay, well, there's a bunch of other people kind of butt in. I guess to have a sign off on it because they're providing a new landscape plan. The chair said, is there something certain we're looking for a certain height of landscaping to be built upon? Andy said, I don't know. I think the landscape should accommodate what the fence was going to do. And I think it will look better this way, but it still needs to provide the same level of protection that was approved. And again, so they want an 8-foot fence. Well, if we put an 8-foot fence, then we should put it basically down here at the elevation that they were going to have it at, which is 319. Instead, we're at 326 at the top of the berm. And then on top of that would be some shrubs. So we're already above the 8-foot, which is basically what you guys were asking. So we're kind of showing that.
But, the plan was approved with a fence. That was what's approved. And I think there was some discussion that if you wanted to, it could be open to other alternatives, but to be open to other alternatives, you got to bring back a plan that's approved, which
Right,
didn't
but
happen.
now, there was,
Let me
and so,
finish. So the
well, no,
plan
I was
that
going to say, the
the
thing
plan
on
that was
that,
approved was what was approved.
right,
To
which
say
did
that there
not
was
show a
options for
fence.
something else, there were, but you had to bring back a plan to be approved, which did not.
Right.
Absence of that, the original plan was what was approved.
Right,
So
but
I
did
think
did not have the fence on it.
It did
plan-
have a fence.
No, not the one that got signed off. There was a note that never got revised. The fence actually got removed based upon this notice of decision.
We had this discussion last time. The meeting was for revising the layout of the campsites. There was no discussion of the landscape. I went through all the meeting minutes and we had this discussion, and I apologize for not pulling that stuff last time. I do want to point out to the board that the original plan, we're talking about fence specifically, and I don't want this to get lost in the conversation, that the original plan has a significant amount of planting and shrubbery as well.
Yeah.
And, so if the end of this conversation is about a fence versus this new plan, I want to make sure the board doesn't forget that there's planting and shrubbery and that it's not a quasi-approval by neglect, like Ray's trying to insinuate from the last meeting for the readjusting the sites. The other point is it was an after-the-fact approval. They decided to excavate all that landscape and then say, it doesn't work now because of what we did. I mean, if they have to go put fill back to get that fence back to the proper elevation, and if they have to build a 8-foot retaining wall to now get back to the starting point, that may be the cost that the campground must endure, because they decided to excavate more material. I was trying to look at the
Actually, it would
numbers,
be the other way around. They've actually built up.
but you keep talking about the berm and it's lower. The fence was supposed to be 80 feet off the property line, and now it looks like it's nowhere near that. And then
So that part where the, yeah.
And you keep talking about the elevations, and the berm is now higher than the original elevation. That's where I guess the confusion comes in. If that elevation is still the same as the original ground that you proposed at 328, and now you're at 324, it's a 4-foot difference that you're lower. Is that correct? I just want, accurate representation. You're saying you dug out so much that the fence doesn't matter. You're so much lower, but the land is still there.
This was actually added on top of the existing. This berm was actually built on top of existing ground. That's why the base of the berm is at 319, but the top of the berm is 326 in one particular spot. There are elevations pointed on the back side of the berm and on the front side of the berm, just so we can show height. Because they did just chop that entire site down.
And then put the berm back in.
Yeah, that's it.
No, I mean, just why, I mean, a couple other things just to kind of point out is the, again, we keep going on to this whole trespass and kids going. We actually had mentioned when we had a meeting with Matt, we basically told him that if there's any kids or anybody that's going over there, the campground needs to know. And the problem is there's Timber Lane has an easement to the lake. And, you know, why are they always accusing the campground, which has no reason to go there, versus the kids across the street trying to find their access to the water? So again, unless they basically say, okay, where are you from? And they basically, you know, it's hard for them to keep proving that the campground is the ones that are doing it. On top of that, I mean, it can go both ways. When we had a meeting in December, Todd and I and Matt, we basically told Matt that we did not want anybody on the property unless they actually talked to Todd first. That's just a safety reason that Todd wanted to know. At the January meeting, we find out that Matt and other residents were walking across. I mean, he told us we were out here, we were walking across, we took a tarp and we were holding it up as a fence. So if they're going to sit there and tell the campground they don't want people going to their property, they got to respect the campground, especially after being told not to. But they totally disagreed with that.
This after we.
No, no.
It
You
just
asked
seems
us for
so,
help.
You can't have,
what it sounds like is that there's been a breakdown. And
Yes,
I
there is.
understand
Yeah,
why
and-
they're upset.
Well, no, it was a pretty clear statement that you do not come on the property unless you talk to Todd first.
Okay.
It was,
So
I was there. It
a
was
fence
pretty,
would stop this all, and so what
And-
would, why not just put a fence in there along with the shrubbery then? What's the added cost? Is it
well,
prohibitive?
I mean, if we're gonna put up a security fence, that needs to go on the property line. And that would have to start at the boat launch and go all the way up along the property. It'd be right along the property line. That's a security fence. We're not talking a security fence. We're talking a buffer, a visual barrier. And in this particular case, we're providing a visual barrier where, as in the fence, where it's needed most by Mrs. Pantano's house. Because you can clearly, and we were like, yep, we were inside of her house. We could see exactly what it was, where her concerns were. At the January meeting, Matt basically said, oh, you know, down on our deck, you know, they were sitting on their deck and they can see the campers. So I basically said, well, let's go down there. I want to see wherever these concerns are. I want to see them. As we got near there, Matt was like, well, I can't get a hold of anybody, so we can't go on the property. So
But you did.
we were standing at the property line about where they were looking up. And you're looking up this hill. I mean, now, can you potentially see out of their second story window of their house over here? Possibly, because that's, 20 something feet in the air. But once you start getting the vegetation growing in, that will be blocked more. I mean, we are listening to their concerns, but we're looking at a practical standpoint as to what should go up there. And on top of that, here you have a berm that's already 10 feet high, and you throw an 8-foot fence on top that's a solid wall, that's going to have to be reinforced because of wind. The vegetation is going to be better suited. The other thing is, if you look at the photo that's on here of the baby giant, I mean, they're showing that, actually, both of them, they're showing them on a raised berm. I mean, they're not flat on the ground. So, I mean,
Given the history though, and given the actions of the owner,
yes,
I am not at all convinced that they will maintain those shrubs at all.
unless
mean-
irrigation is provided. the
I'm sorry?
shrubs- Unless irrigation is provided, I don't see how these things will survive.
Yep. I mean, I don't know anything about irrigation, so
Yeah,
I don't
I
know how that
understand.
would work.
I'm interested in going back to just for everybody's information, going back to the final plan set that was dated February 15th, 2022. That's it. It was signed by the chairman at the time, which means that's the official document. We also have, as part of the plan set, LS1, sheet LS1, landscape plan, dated October 13th of 20, and sheet 2, P2, March of 2020. Sheet 1 shows number 7, descriptive number 7, item 7, a required fence. By my estimation, you're running from point 0 plus 0 near the road all the way down to 3 plus 0, about 300 feet of fence. At elevation 328, it was decided that the fence all the way to that point would be 8 feet, and only toward the road would it drop down to 6 feet to where it makes the 90-degree turn parallel with the road. That's the plan. And
Right, but that fence followed the natural terrain down the slope. That was on a hill going down the slope. And, we can't put the fence there because the fence would be below the berm.
well, elevation 328 is similar to 330, which is the existing.
You're looking up by which part?
This is near,
And right at the end of the fence.
yeah.
Up by the road?
No, I'm in the middle of the fence at that point. I'm just trying to grab some elevations here.
Well, in that particular area that you're talking about, we actually are talking about bigger trees there. And there is still a fence in the middle of that.
Okay,
I mean, the area that we actually stopped the fence is actually beyond Mrs. Pantano's sight line. It actually is where the berm, at that point is 326 on the backside, 330 is the top. So the berm at that point is about, about 4 feet. And then it starts to drop significantly down at that point. That's kind of the area that we're stopping the fence and going with the shrubs all on the top. And again, this is basically how the 2023 meeting was left. With the berm was there. It wasn't like they had actually done the berm after that meeting. They were there because of the new change of the sites. The new layout, the dropping of the site, the lowering of the sites, the berm was there. And in the meeting, again, it says right in the minutes, actually the minutes, the notice of decision does actually say green landscape plan. You have that, Jamie?
The notice of decision from
September,
November 2026.
no, September
23.
September 20, October 17, 2023, notice of decision. I think I might have it in my bag.
Yeah, updated existing landscape plan from the approved plan set, the overall buffer enhancement area plan to address the berm and new topography. A green landscape plan that's similar to the protection offered by fence. You never did that. You're doing that now.
That's what we're showing right now. Yes.
You're trying to show that now.
Right.
Then
Yeah.
the board has the ability to approve or deny whatever you're presenting.
Right. But I'm saying that what we're doing right now is based off of that
Right,
meeting.
but to the board and the public's interest, that was from 2022. 4 years ago, you finally came forward with a landscape plan.
Oh, I understand that. But we're here to kind of get this thing going to wrap it up.
So we're here 2.5 years later.
Mhm.
He didn't do what was legally required. I'm not sure feel bound. Are we bound by this past decision?
The decision was to come back with a landscape plan, and and the only reason why they're here, in my opinion, is because Ernie and I told them they were going to be violated for using the campsite and not finishing. And I think that's the only reason why they're here doing it now, in my opinion.
Which is an applicant-friendly approach, I think. You could have said they're not in compliance and started fining them. You decided to bring them back here and try to get a plan, prove that they would be in compliance. So I think that's a pretty applicant-friendly situation. I think Jamie could have gone the other direction. If we don't like to do that with, if we can work out a plan, that's better, but, this is not, a harsh approach. This is a pretty applicant-friendly approach. You didn't do what you were supposed to do. You occupied the site you weren't supposed to. And now when Jamie caught you, now you're retroactively trying to, get approval for what should have been approved before this all happened. So, I think, and to come back with, as the butters say, with a reduced plan, it's a hard sell. It's a hard sell, for me. I mean, even a 6-foot fence, the original plan was an 8-foot fence. And Scott.
I'm concerned about the growth of the vegetation and whether that's going to actually be successful. And if not, what are our mechanism for making sure that that's all replaced? I would like to see
That
fence
said, the
and
soils are
some
not that good.
vegetation.
It's just a berm, they pulled, they just.
Yeah, it's
plowed
just
everything up
rubble
there.
that they
It's
put
rubble.
up there.
Yeah,
It's-
right,
it's
right.
not
Yeah, no,
good.
I hear you.
Yeah, it's, chance of any surviving that are, say, low, let's survive, let alone thrive.
I mean, note number 5 does basically say that the dispute resolution, in the event of a dispute regarding the conditions and adequacy of the buffer, the town code enforcer may inspect the buffer and determine whether supplemental plantings are reasonable and necessary to maintain the intent of the approved plan. I don't know,
I saw that.
As-
note.
as to-
That's a good note, but
I don't know what enforcement, I mean, that's something that,
Right.
you guys are rolling here with a little bit of, credibility problem right now.
yeah, I kind of was in the beginning, and then I kind of came in after everything, so, I mean, but we're trying to address these issues. I mean, I know plants dying is an issue, so we're trying to address that. We're trying to address the fact that, okay, well, what if a certain species isn't surviving? What is the other species that they can use to do the same? These houses are not close. 165 feet away, 235, 240. Once this vegetation is in there, I don't see there being a problem. These houses, now in elevation 310, 305, 295, it's a huge incline. If you were down there looking up, you would kind of see what we're looking at is that, how that fence is really going to play a part, because it really would not. The plantings is going to be that's why these shrubs that I proposed up top here they're a different style. They're a little bit lower, again, because of the height, worried about the wind going through there. Because we're already at 10 feet, fence was 8 feet, and now we're talking about species that will grow to 4 to 5 feet. So we're 15 feet higher compared to 8 feet. And you cannot see from there. The one area I do admit is the Robinsons. And when we saw that, we did basically address that about how to do this. Is it an instant? I guess what you guys are saying is you want an instant block. You want something that's instantly going to block it.
For sure.
Mr. Chairman, how do you want to proceed? You want to vote on this plan?
Yeah.
I'd just like to clarify a couple of things. This note, thank you, this note that talks about dispute resolution. Dispute resolution or commercial site plan, if there's an issue with the site plan and there's any kind of, anything deteriorates or changes, I'm going to, you, but the town would go out, could inspect it and say, look, you're no longer in conformance with your site plan. You need to repair these, you need to do something about it. So I mean, the whole dispute resolution thing, I mean, that's dispute resolution is gonna be, if you go out and there's a problem with it, you need to fix it. As far as anything with this is concerned, I mean, it has been a long time. And when we went out initially, I mean, this is a month after I started, we went out and did this walkthrough. And, we both saw things that we were concerned about, and that's why they came back before you. And when you go back to that 2023 meeting, both of us went through that whole thing, and I think Todd was the only one at that meeting at that time,
Correct.
right? And he was talking about the engineering issues and the changes and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not really sure anybody really, was certain about what was going on, and if the most qualified person to be talking about the engineering issues was talking about them. So, I think you have a choice. You've got the original plan that you approved back in, what was that, 21, I believe? And now you have this revised one that came about as a result of your last meeting. So I just wanted to put that out there because really, it's a commercial site plan, and if there are any discrepancies with it in the future even, then the town could enforce that. If it chose to do that.
Any comments?
I was just going to add, the conversation keeps talking about the fence on the berm. I can't rationalize why the fence needs to go on the berm. It can go close to the property line. It could go on the property line. I mean, it's their right to place a fence on their property line. And, they could both meet the intent of the approval and do as they wish with that fence and not put it on the berm and have all these blow over features that they maintain. But
The berm would be very unstable.
yeah, I mean, unless you're going to spend the extra money to reinforce it, as he said, it would make more sense to move it back into undisturbed soil. Then it would be at the proper elevation as the original topography, presented at the time. And then along with, and then whether the board decides to entertain different plantings versus what were the approved plantings. Because if we review the plan from 2022, it says any 12-foot area that has less than 4 trees in it, you have to add trees to that 12-foot circle. I mean, there's a substantial amount of planting that was required that's, so, I think that the board is within their right to, modify a mixture of both if they see fit or accept or deny, in either case, but that's all.
Any more comments down here?
I think if it were better weather, I'd want to do a site walk on it, but with all the snow drifts, I'm not sure that would help.
Okay, do you have a motion?
I have a motion that we vote on the revised plan as presented.
So could you articulate what that would mean?
Approving this.
Approving this plan
Okay,
as presented.
okay.
Anybody want to second that motion?
I'll second that.
Roll call.
To be clear,
Shepherd, no.
you're voting to approve the new plan.
Yeah, if you say
Correct.
yes, you
Shepherd,
approve it.
no.
If you say no, you,
Or they're voting, right.
Okay, Capiello, no.
Tessie or no?
did you vote?
I said no.
Allard, nay.
Driscoll, nay. Let me see, Driscoll, nay. I think Jamie had a good idea. Go back to the original plan where at elevation 328, it goes from the 6-foot to the 8-foot fence all the way down to what the original plan showed a swale to the back. And don't put it on the berm, go to the original location and it'd just be safer there. Without having an irrigation system, I don't think the survival rate for the plant would be very good. That's my feeling.
So I guess my question is, I don't understand the point of, so you put up a 8-foot fence, but you have a 2 feet of berm sticking up over the fence. Where does that make any sense?
I can't follow the logic.
Yeah.
If Ms. Patano's house is here and they've cut and made a berm, if they put it up here on the native soil, I don't, if you're talking about putting it in the roadway in front of the berm.
No, I'm
And
saying,
you said the
I'm saying
elevations haven't
if we
changed.
put the fence down here on a natural ground, not Mrs. Pantano's, we're already proposing a fence up there. I'm saying down here, if we put the fence on natural ground that's 10 feet below the top of the berm. So you're going to have 2 feet of berm
Looking at
sticking
the
up over the
topography,
fence.
is that a 10-foot berm?
So I think, what, I don't know if it's being missed or what, but right now the top of berm is higher than what the fence would have been.
Yes.
So now we're asking to put a fence on top of the berm, making it even higher.
Or put on a natural ground, which would then be below the berm,
Right.
which that's the problem that I have. I'm not, and if we put the fence against the property line, because of the slope going from their house going up there, you're going to still be looking right over the top of the
I
fence.
mean,
So, I mean,
that's only the case when you get to where there's no fence right now,
Right,
because really there's only a 3-foot difference
right.
in through here, so you'd still have 5 feet of fence over the berm. But then once you get down on the corner where there's no fence shown now, the berm is still gonna be higher than an 8-foot fence.
Right. The fence you're showing, of course, that's a 6-foot fence on top of the berm, which would be clearly better than the 6-foot fence you originally had to the elevation 326.
up by Mrs. Pantano's.
Yeah, by
Yes.
Santana,
Yep.
yeah.
But I will also say, the berm is nothing, as we discussed, but rubble.
Right.
And looks horrible.
Right.
So as a resident, I wouldn't want to be looking at that
Right.
berm the way it is.
Well, I've
Fence
already
would have to
been
go,
addressing that it needs to be, and if you look down at if you were walking in there, if you looked over here, you would actually see that that's been smooth, that's been manicured. It still needs to happen, through there. And that's kind of goes back to the point of the 2 phases, because up around the campground, around Hall Road, there needs to be work done on that before putting any vegetation in there. And, I think the overall new layout of the plan is actually better than the original one originally approved, the new layout. Gets rid of the dead end street that we had. I mean, overall, I think it's a better layout. I'm not saying that the way they went about it was right, but I'm just saying the layout. The berm does have an added benefit. It really does. But I do not see where a fence on top of the berm in that section makes any sense. And I've been out there many times.
Well, 2 reasons I can think of. One, it would stop people from walking the yards, right? So it does provide that.
Well, again,
security.
that's the vegetation we want to pull on the berm is going to help
And it
that.
might be better to look at a
And-
fence than it is at a berm with sort of shrubs and things that aren't really grown.
Well, I mean, things will grow over time, and I think vegetation is better than a fence, and we have proposed signs that are going to put down there as well to keep off the berm. I mean, does everybody 100% follow the rules? Well, no, and I kind of already stated that in the other reverse side, but all we can do is if someone's over there and they see it, they need to report it to the campground for them to take action. And they have very strict rules.
Property line to the berm, top of the berm, it makes sense.
But they're proposing in this proposal, a fence on the berm.
Would be the way to go.
that doesn't make any sense
Yeah,
to me.
it would definitely be
Just going to
higher.
blow over because it's not going to
Well,
have a
over
substantial.
on the top part, the berm is much lower.
Okay.
That's why that one there, we're proposing the fence.
Berm is upwards of 8 feet when you get down around that corner.
But what about transitioning the berm from the property line, the fence from the property line to the top of the berm? It turns the corner.
What was the question?
Would there be a problem transitioning the fence from the property line to the top of the berm when you get down that location? Will you stop the fence now?
Yep.
Could you locate? Are we talking about putting the, now back on the property lines up here? Is that the plan? I think it was a suggestion, no.
Really,
But again,
nothing
that
was
kind of
said.
doesn't really make sense because when you're down here, you're going to be looking over at the top of the fence and looking at the top of the berm. So basically you're going to have a fence looking at the berm, or you'd be just looking at a berm that has vegetation on top. I
The
mean,
berm is, as Scott says, not very attractive the way it is now. It doesn't provide sound attenuation or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
which, vegetation
The
does.
fence has to go on virgin soil to the right side of the berm, so the people won't be looking at the berm, which is just a mess. That makes sense?
And plantings on the berm.
So you
wanna
basically
plant
want a
things on the berm,
cosmetic
You're
fence.
lucky to do it, but they won't be able to see most of it because unless it's gonna be gigantic. But I don't think that any of that's gonna survive, just based upon the history of this organization. I don't think they're gonna put irrigation up there to make sure it survives. Nobody's gonna
Well,
bring a hose up there.
I know we're kind of talking a lot of shade for the Barrington campground, but they've been pretty good citizens. They do a lot of good stuff.
Right,
So,
right.
I mean, and they're,
I'm just talking about the history of dealing
this
with them.
project, yeah. I mean, this project has not been
Yeah,
their
right.
shining moment.
Right, yeah. I mean, the plan goes back to, original drawings go back to 2020, so this has been a 6-year plod here. So I would put the fence as shown on virgin soil to the right of the berm. And just follow that line down and continue it to where it was supposed to have been before. You may have to, as the terrain drops at that point, you may have to shift up from the 6 foot to an 8 foot to make that turn. And you can't really go, we can't really expect them to go beyond the point where the original plans had it stopping, which is about here.
So basically, you're gonna be asking for the original fence behind the berm.
Yeah,
Where it was 6 foot, it's 6 foot. Where it was 8 foot, it's gonna be 8 foot.
that's probably a good.
And
start.
just keep it off the berm
Yep,
so that there's no wind issues.
right.
What does that do for elevation, Bob? Does it still make the top of the fence?
No, because
The elevation is 19 and 26. That would be 7 feet difference, top of the berm. Yep, it would be. Yep.
except for when you get down around the corner, then the berm will be a couple feet over the fence.
Right. But, yeah, and that will be primarily just beyond Newell's house view to the next one. But that was never part of the plan anyway,
Right,
to have anything.
right.
That was my suggestion.
So back to the original location from out there?
It was somewhere, they had, original plan, they had like a swale here, and it ended about here. But of course, the berm wasn't there, so, yeah, I carried it around the corner. But that's where the berm is, so. At least for certain winds, the berm would actually protect the fence. Winds coming in that,
That is true.
so.
I'd like to bring Matt, ask his opinion about this as a solution as well.
You want to have an expert to step up and give his view?
So
I'd like to have Matt in this.
here's the
Flander.
fence as approved. Okay, so at the corner was at 320, and then here was 314.
Right,
And the current berm there is 324 feet. I mean, 324. So right now the berm is 10 feet. So at this point, right here,
yep.
the fence is going to be lower than the berm.
So the fence would only,
Shrubs on top would actually.
so
be
the
nice.
fence would only provide security.
It won't even, no, it won't, because
People are gonna get.
you can walk, you can just walk around a fence. If it's a security fence, it needs to start from the lake and go all the way to the entrance of Barrington Shores Campground. We're not talking about a
casual
security.
People going over, not somebody with intent to get by there.
But that's part of the rules. I mean, through this entire process, since I've been here doing this, since the original time, I mean, we've had David Newhall saying that he used to go onto this property to get firewood. I mean, we've had many people saying how they go onto this property, but there's been never any proof that anybody here has gone over there.
To Ray's point, I mean, just looking at where the road is, if campers wanted to go on that road to get to the dam, the shortest point is gonna be walking around that fence. So that's where they'd go anyway.
But I don't even think anybody in the campground knows the dam's over there. I mean, I think they're getting confused with people that live across the street who have a deeded easement to the lake.
Right,
And that's the other thing too, we cannot impede that.
right,
Because that easement runs
Over here.
right.
And
that right away, they use that right away.
And they can walk down here, and they can walk through here, and they can walk all the way along here. Nobody can stop it because it's a deed of easement. You know, so, I mean, there's a lot going on here that's more than just someone walking up on top of the berm. And it's a construction site. I mean, how many people have gone onto a construction site to look at things? When things are done and in place, there's more rules involved. There's signage is going to be there. There's going to be plants there. I do not understand the purpose of a fence below the berm.
Well, the simple solution to that, if it's a 2-foot difference, you just lower the berm 2 feet, since it's just made of rubble.
But then what does that accomplish?
If it's an aesthetic problem, you'd have it that way. But it would provide, from the houses, it would provide a better view.
So you want to lower the actual barrier.
Well, the barrier doesn't sound like it's very appealing.
It's because it's under construction.
But
I mean, so
under
basically,
construction-
maybe what we should be concentrating on is basically dictating how the berm should be cleaned up to make it more appealing then on the backside and how it can be, you know, addressed. So
I think, Ray, that's, at least I don't see it here. That's what's missing on the plan. I'd like to know that this berm is gonna be cleaned up, covered with mulch, so that where it is exposed, it's gonna look nice.
well, I
Because
mean,
driving down Hall Road looks terrible.
yeah, we do have that under note 2C. You know, I mean, those notes, I mean, and that's basically the creeping juniper that's on that plan. That's what's going to be placed on the side of the berm. And that does grow in gravel. I actually did that on the backside of my driveway. And that stuff grows very well. But if you want on the backside of the berm cleaned up, and you want them to go into the woods and remove some of the down trees that are in there, that's different, but that also provides it harder for people to walk through.
Yeah, I guess, me personally, I wouldn't be looking for down trees to be cleaned up. But what they created with that berm with just gravel and rubble, that I think should be topped and.
Yeah, oh, I agree, it needs to be manicured.
And
Yeah.
again, nothing against you, but this project hasn't gone very smoothly, and I still have concerns. To Ray's point, I see that the buffer is being met to what the original plan called for. You've got lower site campsites, you've got a higher berm, so the site is definitely there, but I think it's an eyesore
I mean,
of a berm.
right now, I mean, I think you guys do, I mean, as in the town, has a lot over this right now because since there's pretty much been a stop on campers or use of these in here, they're gonna wanna get this done, and they're gonna wanna get it done right, because they can't bring in anybody into these sites. And those people who are in those sites right now are gonna be complaining if they can't come in and use their campers. So there's a lot at stake for them to get this done and get it done right. So I think, yes, there's been a lot of delay getting things done, but I also think right now, there's a lot of incentive for them to get it done how it's supposed to be and how you guys want it to be done.
I'm still stuck with the fact that things might not likely grow on this berm. So is there a way to improve the growth fertility of the berm?
Well, I mean, they can add some mulch and stuff, but I mean,
Yeah, but.
sorry, I don't
it's
actually
fair
have
to
those.
Point out that, I mean, the original approval and any construction approval, I mean, there's no reality that they leave that berm unprotected. I mean, that should have been grassed and seeded and hydroseeded right away for erosion. I mean, they've just used the poorest construction methodology they could possibly come up with.
The part that has been manicured has actually been grassed, but I told Todd that we need to do something different there.
But
I don't have it on here. I mean, because it's
I mean, if
to me,
you
it's,
read the approved plan, I mean, mulch should be used on highly, soils. spacing. I mean, everything's prescribed on what should have been done and nothing. I mean, I have it hard to believe that there's 8 inches of bank run gravel to DOT specs put down first and 6 inches of crushed on top of that. I think it's just the dirt that was there was spread around and they started moving in campers. The engineer signed off on it. I'm not going to question him, but if you look at it, I don't think anybody thinks that that's material brought in and proper quality to build a campsite or a road base. So to suspect, like you said, that there's going to be any type of soil brought in at any cost whatsoever is kind of absurd at this point. And that's why I think the idea of the fence is somewhat permanent. But I mean, even if it's ugly, I guess I don't know. It's just all the other parts that are missing as well. There's, you read through the fine print is kind of the stuff that leaves you questioning.
And I'm concerned if things don't grow, then residents have a season or a second season where they don't have enough screening.
I don't have any faith that they're gonna do too much with the berm, all the promises they've been making
Yeah, I
all
don't
these
think-
years.
I'm not convinced.
Am I
That's
able
why I
to
said,
speak?
put a fence on the neighborhood side, all the way down, and then you guys can play with the berm for the next 5 years or whatever. You do whatever you want.
So then we
If you
should
wanna
just, we should
if
just
you
put the
wanna
fence,
put grass
then
on
we
it,
should
fine.
do it along the property line.
You can do it on the property.
And they'll
line.
just see over it. I mean, it doesn't matter if we put it at the base of the berm or at the property line, they're gonna see over it. So we might as well put it at the property line to keep them
Well,
out.
yeah, they might,
I can't
But the-
understand how you see over an 8-foot fence at the property line.
No, it should be at the base of the berm.
should be at the base of the berm as we originally suggested.
Right over here at the property line,
Right.
right down here, so this is 316.
And I'm talking about 319,
Sorry, 314 right here.
but the original topography here is 319 about there.
Well, I'm saying at the property line.
Well,
This is the original. This is the original. So if it was over here on the property line, there's, down here, is right by the pipes, 314. So if you put the fence up there, do that, be at 322 for the height, but
I'm talking about
it's gonna be at
the base of
346.
the base of the berm. At that location is about 319. Might be 314 over where you're looking.
I want to put,
For example,
it's
we
the
got
if or
319
that,
here,
they
we've
still got to
got-
do stabilization and certain
That's
things
correct.
to the
Detail
soil. They
here.
can't just leave it a raw berm exposed to the elements and say, we're good, because we put a fence in somewhere else.
Right.
It's still going to be
And I think the
stabilized.
plantings are still important for noise.
From the original approval, unless you guys change that.
I think the problem I have, Ray, is that you're suggesting that the berm provides the same visual, buffer. But as Bob says, it looks like hell. And nobody believes anything will grow on it because of the soils, the rubble there, the lack of, irrigation it's gonna dry out. Trees are gonna blow over because the root ball is gonna be too,
Well, the ones up there, I'm not proposing as high.
yeah.
That's-
The berm you're saying is gonna be the visual thing. That is not an attractive barrier. So if you're trying to sell that as the solution, there needs to be a lot more language on it to see that says we're gonna, take out the bad soils, we're gonna replace with good soils, we're gonna make sure there's irrigation there or something, so some drip irrigation, so the soils these things don't dry out. So if you're gonna try to sell that as an alternative to the fence, I think you need to go a hell of a lot stronger than you've done so far. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but the berm, to look at it and say that's a good visual barrier, when it just looks like, road rubble, that's not an answer. And nobody believes the stuff's gonna grow,
So we'll propose to put the fence at the base of the berm.
Basically, yeah, the toe of the berm, 8-foot fence.
And we'll remove it from the top of the berm. And we're gonna put it in the back of the berm. And then when people are complaining because they can still see the berm, or now they can actually see campers because they're seeing over the berm, I mean, we'll do that.
I'd like to bring Matt up again and ask him to get his input. 'Cause he's
Is that
representing
okay
all
with the
that.
board? We've already had a
we can kind of reopen public hearing,
We'd have to do that.
public comment, let's reopen public comment.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, we're open to public comment.
Take a swing, Matt.
Let's address putting the fence at the toe of the berm on the neighborhood side.
Yep. So I think
Then they can play with the berm.
I think Ray is right as far as if they put the fence on the other side of the berm, the fence will basically just be a physical thing that people can't get through, but people will be able to stand on top of the berm and just kind of look over, first of all.
Can't
But
put concertina wire all over.
no. And that's not what I'm asking, but I want to offer a solution. So, I'm not here to be a hard ass. I'm not here to we tried to get together and we tried to work with the campground. The campground just would not have anything to do with us. So,
We've
so
had two
what,
meetings. and
so I'm listening to both sides right now, and I've seen the material on the berm. And when I was up there with Todd Green, the owner, and Ray, Todd told me, he goes, yeah, there's huge rocks that are buried under this stuff. And, we're going to be lucky to find places to put fence posts if we do this. And just looking at it, I mean, it's just the material that was dug out of the ground and pushed out of the way off to the side so they could start doing their work. And they created this berm. It wasn't brought in, and it's just really bad material. So my thought might be up for consideration is to have them fix this problem they created. Take down the top part of that berm, get rid of the crap that's in there, get rid of the big boulders and the rocks and everything else, and reconstruct a better berm that maybe is more level with the terrain and the ground. And at that point, they can have the fence kind of work, like you said, along the original proposed area. And as it starts to go down around the corner, the elevation does drop. So they're going to have to bring in more good material there to kind of build that up. But maybe they can use some of that crappy material in that low area to put down first so they can keep the elevation up. Cover it with good material, good soil, good dirt, something they can dig in, good, so they can sink their fence post down 4 feet. If you have an 8-foot fence, it's got to be at least 4 feet in the ground or the wind's going to blow it over. So,
The advantage of going what the board is leaning toward is you can get this done faster. That might never get done.
well,
Then you're going to be complaining for the next 5 years.
well, like Ray said, they have campers that are already paying for these sites and they're looking forward to using these sites. And if the board doesn't grant occupancy, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to scurry around like crazy to try to get this work done that they've been dragging out for the longest time.
If the fence were to be put in, for example, between Lucy's house, that was originally going to be a 6-foot fence, and at the elevation of 326, which is close to 327.9, you see that on the bottom? No, you can do it. What I'm talking about. 327.9, right here. The original 6-foot fence was going to go like this. And then it was going to go 8 feet along the rest.
Right.
If you were to do that and start the 8-foot fence here and continue with the 6-foot fence at the toe of the berm on virgin soil, you just would get it done. You'd have a visual barrier. And if they decide to lower the berm, fine. And if they, I don't see that them taking any action on the berm, that's all.
Right.
This would give you a visual barrier,
Well,
all the way down
if
to the
nothing
tree.
else, I think the berm right now, if you're looking at moving the fence forward, the berm needs to be lowered so that people can't stand on it and look over it, because I'm 5'10" and a half, okay?
Right.
So 6 feet is like right here.
Yep.
And you have somebody like Tim, campground manager, how tall are you?
6'3".
Okay, come over here and stand next to me.
What was the need for the berm at all?
So
The berm was not on the
Lose
original
material.
plan.
There was no berm.
So you got a 6-foot fence right about here. And where's his eyes?
But that was part of
his
the,
tippy toes. I mean, if he's standing on the berm and the fence
the
is in
6
front
feet
of
is
it,
only behind her house.
If you lower the berm.
The rest of it is 8 feet.
Traverse the berm.
As the original
then it's a
document.
much higher-
So 8 feet would be everybody else's view.
right, but if the berm is behind it and people climb up the hill, even though they said they're gonna have signs and rules and trespassing, which weren't in place last year when people were camping there.
They were, we do have those rules, we just don't have the signs, but we already have rules where people can't go where they're not supposed to. We were never contacted about it, we honestly.
So you want to just say, the decision of the board will be to fix the berm?
Well,
And give them,
I think they should come back with another plan
To
that,
fix the berm.
to either fix the berm or come up with another solution that might be admittable to both the board and to the homeowners, that works for everybody. And that's what we tried to meet with them and do, but yet they took and shrunk everything down and just kind of didn't take any of our information that's written in that letter to heart.
Well, we did that in 2002. Here's the
Right.
plan.
Right. And that was before they went and excavated and built this big mess. It's the berm that's screwing up the plan.
Right.
That we can't move forward on.
Right.
So maybe just throwing out a solution, maybe instead of an 8-foot fence and a 6-foot fence, maybe we look at a 4-foot fence on top of the berm. Less wind getting to it, and also part of the plan would include addressing
Right.
The
The
berm.
aesthetics, at least on
The
the
aesthetics of
neighborhood
the
side,
berm.
would be to grass it.
fully mulched or
Yep.
wood chipped or something.
That's an option.
Without the bushes and trees.
So why wouldn't we have them just dig out the material, put good material in, bring it back up to the height the berm's at and put a 6-foot fence up and do it the full length of that along with the rules and,
Why not remove the berm?
I think,
Well,
I think Bob's solution of putting a 4-foot fence on top of the berm is better than removing the berm. Visual.
and you're gonna have a much higher,
No, I guess,
And it'd be less susceptible from damage from wind too, right?
but it still will be the back side of the berm, the neighborhood side of the berm will look
Well, it's
terrible.
no, not if we
Clean it
make
up.
that part of the plan.
There's a 50-foot vegetative buffer between the berm
Okay.
and the
Okay.
property line, so I mean, there should be some cover most of the year.
but a 4-foot fence, I mean, if people choose, even though they have rules in place to climb up and look over, I mean, a 4 foot is probably, what, right here?
Well, but you know,
Seems a little
Ray, I
high.
think we were looking for that juniper cover you're looking for on the berm as well. So clean up the berm, you know, do a lot of stuff you were talking about, put fence on top of it. I think that works for me.
And the signage saying that you
Yeah.
can't go on the,
And that creeping juniper, you can't just walk up through it. It's not easy. And nobody that's camping there is gonna go walk up that once it's mature.
They might if they're drinking.
So now you're saying the person that was up
Yeah,
there was.
but not to the point. I mean, people can crawl on top of their campers and sit up there and look at you. I don't think there's any expectation of privacy looking your way. I thought it was, the original argument back in 2022, and I was on the board, was so that you guys didn't look and smell campfire smoke and get to see people, you know, derelicting
Sound.
about.
Sound
and
was a bit- and the
sound.
barrier
You know,
is
so-
And blue
much
tarps
better.
in the winter.
Right, you know, and that's, yeah, that's unfortunate. So you guys looking in was the
Right.
biggest thing I heard back then.
A
and-
4-foot fence
you know.
isn't gonna help the winter time when everything's covered over and we have no vegetation because everything's, leaves have fallen to the
Be
ground.
14 feet above you. So you want an 8-foot fence or 14-foot? A berm is still a fence. And if you do a fence on top of the berm, you're talking 14 feet versus 8.
I'm trying to give you a little compromise here. They're saying a 4 to 6-foot fence. I'm saying a
Or you
6.
said a 4-foot fence.
I'm saying a 6-foot fence with the berm cleaned up and manicured, I think might be a compromise, but I mean, you guys created the problem when you put, you did the berm.
I mean, I think the 4-foot fence would be an option. I think that would make sense. And
In
I still
juniper
think
all
that-
the way around the whole berm.
it needs,
We
it
just
needs to be.
I don't think 4 feet is tall enough. For the winter time, you're gonna be
When
able to.
when we were down there, by these houses down here, you could not see a camper.
So,
You cannot. Now, if you're talking about, again, in their second story, looking out the window, that wasn't part of the original approval. We weren't talking about, oh, if I'm standing up on my second floor, looking out a window, I can see the campground.
so
That wasn't in-
a site walk might be worthwhile, even though, you know, maybe you have to wait a little bit for the snow to melt. But if you go out there and you see the site, you'll see the material that has been put in place, and you'll be able to visually see what it looks like right now, because there's not a lot of green leaves that are out.
Yeah, but Matt.
Well, there's not, they have all the photos. I took photos
But
all
Matt,
through there.
if the 4 foot on top of the berm is better than it was before, it's better. So that seems like a reasonable, suggestion to me. I don't know why that is better than what was there before for the visual.
Well, I
And
think
it's
still-
year round.
Well, you can still see the campers with a 4-foot fence, with,
Top of
Well,
the berm?
yeah.
But on top of the berm,
Especially from Lutzi's house.
on top of the berm with
Lucy's
a
house, you can't,
with a
'cause it's
4 foot
6 foot. We've
fence,
already accomplished that.
you're gonna be at 330. If you put an 8 foot fence on grade, you're gonna be at 327. So with a 4 foot fence, you're still gonna be 3 feet higher than the original approval.
Yeah, the cross-section of the original approval fence at the high point that I see is 335 and follows the contour of the land. So I guess from the board's perspective, if you could, whatever size fence, if it meets the requirement of the 8 foot fence at that grade at that point,
Right.
before they altered it, if it's 3 feet, 2 feet,
That would
5 feet, 6
accomplish-
feet,
yeah,
it's the
that
same
would-
height that was approved, that
would
would
comply with
seem
the
to be
original.
a reasonable compromise.
The berm is remediated, the bad stuff's taken out, good stuff was. So stuff will grow.
See, he's gonna put the cheapest fence on top
No,
of.
the fence that he
Well,
wants
the-
to do
the
is the fence,
The fence is already it has to be part of the plan.
because he don't wants to do the same fence he already has in the campground. So the fence, the picture that's on there is what he already has built. And that's what he wants to do.
And it's very similar to the original approval. Roughs on board.
Yeah,
Right.
but you have
And-
the berm, and the berm looks terrible.
I mean,
Right.
and
Part of the plan is gonna address
The
it.
berm,
It's
the
gonna
berm,
remediate, we're gonna remediate the berm and put in good soils.
I mean, we do live in New Hampshire and trees grow on rocky soil all the time. I mean, so I think you're underestimating the growth of trees. I mean,
Well,
I agree that they need to put more, they gotta do more manicuring. I do believe that they gotta add some better soil, and I believe they gotta add, whether it's mulch or something on it.
And it's gonna take a while for these bushes to fill in and grow and stuff, so I think a
I think
6-foot
that's where the
fence is
4 foot fence
needed.
comes into play.
So we have 4 feet and 6 feet. What about 5 feet? Does that work?
Well,
Well, I think the
again,
construction.
I'm 5'10", 5 feet is here. If somebody walks up to the top of the berm, at least a 6-foot fence, they'd have to, crawl over
I
it
think
or.
construction wise, the
But-
materials probably would work better at the
we
4.
cover the berm on both sides with the creeping juniper. Nobody will be going through that. It's kind of messy to get through that, right?
It can be, but it takes time for that creeping juniper to
Oh,
get there.
The whole thing's gonna take
Right,
time. But
right.
your original plan.
That's
might be-
why the 6-foot fence would be, a good deal. I mean, we're already compromising because the original plan says 8 feet.
Well,
you know?
8 feet on the virgin soil.
Right.
We're much higher than that.
Right.
They created that problem though. The board didn't create that problem. Rosemary Lane didn't create that problem. They did.
The
And
berm though is and I know from in Todd's defense, the berm is a better sound barrier than a fence. It is. And I think that was when he was doing this, it's kind of what he was thinking is it's a better sound. I mean, he still needs to clean it up. I understand that, but in the long run, the berm is going to be much better than just a solid fence.
Right.
Why don't we close public comment? Yes,
I'll close it.
close public
Thanks.
comment. I think I should turn my mic on once in a while.
All right, if we look at behind Newell's house, for example, it's 319 at the toe and it's 326 at the berm. Putting the 4 feet on top would be 330. And putting a 8-foot fence on the 319 would be 327. So 26. I'm not a math major, sorry.
Nope, you were right. I was wrong.
So already in that spot, you're 3 feet better by putting a 4 fence.
And then
on
if you
top.
continue around the corner
Right.
towards Robinson's, then you're at
But the
314 at the
important
base.
part is to have some, at least on the side of the campground, the creeping juniper, I've run into that, doing the trails in the White Mountains and everything and other places. It's
Yeah,
tough to get through that.
Yeah, on the backside of the berm, I mean, I can see them cleaning that up and, stabilizing it, but I don't think the creeping juniper is gonna end up growing in the woods like that.
Yeah. Well, and
But I think if
as
they-
Joyce says, maybe nothing will grow.
I think if
without
they
any
clean up
irrigation.
that backside, that,
But
just so
that's
it's
the
not.
problem, right? It's still gonna look like hell.
Well, they clamp it back so that eventually the forested part will go into there. So the juniper on the other side, that'll be attracted from their side, which. I don't know
Right.
about, but
So
it'll start, discourage you from climbing up on the berm.
the gold standard would be to remove the berm, right?
Not remove it, but,
But I'm just saying, if we were to try to bring it back the way it was, it would be removing the berm and putting in a
Well,
fence. And so what we're
If I'm
talking,
hearing their argument, they don't want to look at the campers.
no, I get that. I'm
In
just
the
saying
winter,
that.
Putting
then
a
I
4-foot
think the
fence
berm-
on the berm gives them much higher than when the 8-foot fence was proposed originally.
So how do we make sure that the berm is made so it's more likely to sustain growth?
I guess one question I have is, where's the board feel on requiring some kind of drip irrigation? What do you think, Bob? Because that juniper and stuff, it's not gonna grow totally dry.
Yeah.
On the side of my driveway was all gravel. There was no soil. It was just gravel. And
Did you water it?
no, it's,
It's-
no, I'm not. I did not.
Pretty hardy
It's
stuff.
pretty
kinda
hardy.
like-
Yeah, and I don't do any
Right,
irrigation at my house.
right, yeah, it's hard to kill that stuff.
Okay, so just remediate the soils, get all the big stuff out of there, put a 4-foot fence in, and juniper on the, dress up the other side and
Right.
juniper on the inside.
And these guys will gain 3 or 4 feet of additional amount that they wouldn't have otherwise with the original plan.
I think I can live with.
Is that your motion?
Test your solution.
Let's hear from Jamie first. Is that something that
I
makes sense? or-
support whatever the board agrees to. I just, I think, to be clear, that you're either lay out a whole new thing, or are you keeping parts of the other one that required some of the plantings in the buffer?
Well,
Yeah, I'm thinking we rejected this one. We want to revise when we're trying to give them direction. Be approvable next time.
So just the area of the buffer forego for the additional plantings on the berm and the fence as described.
Yeah, now from the toe of the buffer of the berm, because the original plan had a lot more gigantic stuff. Do you have, put that up if you can? It was very, and then not even sure at that point that we were going to provide any irrigation. I don't think it was part of the
No,
plan. Yeah.
I don't.
So that was a pipe dream.
Wasn't really
It was like a whole big
it
area.
wasn't like a berm like it is now. The new berm is going to dry, I'm not sure, but I'm okay with no irrigation. If Bob tells me don't worry about it, I'm not going to worry about it.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I think with the clause,
I don't know if anybody
in
can
there,
see the
they've got to
monitor.
maintain.
Right,
And remediate the berm, get
Yeah.
it to reduce the
Correct.
soils and
Right.
stuff, and then go from there.
they'd be in violation if they
You
don't
beat me to it. I
maintain
don't know whose is
and
up there.
you
Yours or mine?
can't put
I think
your-
yours is up
They
there.
gotta regrow, they gotta
Right.
replant.
Okay,
Yeah, if you could, this is the original, kind of the buffer diagram originally.
went all the way over to the property line from the,
It was the whole 50 feet, any
Yeah.
12-foot area that didn't have, any 12-foot diameter area.
but it was
That's
probably
all.
not gonna survive,
No, and it was it said similar language that these were saplings, and every year they would be monitored, and if new saplings needed to be added, and it had the same language about, code enforcement.
Yeah, well, we'll keep that language, but the code enforcement can check it and make sure that,
Yeah, and just to be, on that image there, the big trees are actually existing trees. It was like the little small ones that were kind of just being added. And there are,
Big tree's still there?
in that whole section, yes. All throughout that, those are all existing unless they've fallen because of winter. And, Todd did add a couple boxwoods right in this area here, because it was a clearer site that was right from Mrs. Spantano's. So he did add a couple of things in there, and he said there was more, I just didn't find them. But there was snow on the ground. I just literally tripped over it.
But they're not gonna grow very tall, right?
No, boxwoods don't grow. They grow at 4 to 5 feet. So the fence would go to where it originally ended on the original.
Yeah, around the 314, see that area, as it starts to make the turn.
So on the campground side, dress it up, proper soils,
Yep.
mulch on the top, better soils on top. The backside of the berm, kind of dress that up. And I'm big on, things it can't be straight because it's going to cause erosions. It needs to be tapered. So dress up that side and something needs to grow in there that can grow to stabilize the soil.
When you get to that end point, based on the original, with the 8-foot fence, it would have been 322 feet. By putting the 4-foot fence on the berm, the height will be 328, the top of the fence. So he's gaining 4 feet there as we move along. He's gaining 3 feet by putting it on the berm, so forth all the way down.
Yeah, but before we get to that point, what you said, Ray, on the backside, as Jamie said, it's gotta be hydro-seeded or something.
Right.
It's gotta be done on the outside.
Right, I don't
The
know
neighborhood
about,
side.
they'd have to look into seeing what could be, I don't know what they use for,
You gotta stabilize the soils.
Yeah,
oh, right.
the mat that they use on the side of the highways, they just roll that, what's it called? Yeah, and it's got seed in it and, what do you call it? Field grass grows up pretty
Right.
decent in that stuff.
We're upstream from the.
But we're talking in the woods, so it needs to be something that would grow in the woods.
So they're not looking at gravel and stone.
Right. Yep. Again, it could be maybe some other kind of creeping myrtle or some of that stuff that grows well.
About it, 'cause the elevation's real steep, I want it to be stabilized too, so.
Yeah, no, I'm right, but I'm saying that to get something to grow on it that's gonna grow in the woods. I don't think grass would really work well. Yeah, that's the problem, quick.
So for Matt's benefit, you're gaining about, from the original one, by doing the 4-foot on the berm, you're gaining about 3 feet of additional height than you would have got with an 8-foot fence.
And I think you'll just have to watch, and if you see peeping toms looking over the fence, gotta call
Call the
the
campground.
PD or the campground and get it addressed.
And where would the change over from the 4-foot to the 6-foot go? Which I think they would probably try to taper it so it kind of blends, but I have the 6-foot right now ending just beyond the sight line of Mrs. Batano's.
Okay. Now, that was the original plan to go to for her. Looking at the elevations.
And again, there at that point, we're at 9 foot above original grade.
Yep.
So,
Because it's only 3 feet,
So if you have
7.
8 foot on there, 34, so yeah, I think right where the fence ends,
Yeah, okay.
where the current fence was shown.
Guy's fence. You propose fence.
Yes.
You propose.
Well, this area over here and over here by the road.
So that's what I was just gonna ask, so are we gonna speak of phase 2 or? Because some people are saying they want that done now.
See, it's still in the drawing.
What's that? It's this right.
It's on the drawing. So along here.
Yeah,
One comment.
All right.
I think public hearing's
I think
closed.
public
It
hearings.
is, but you should
Is-
probably
is this-
read the Perry's note from their deck, because
Okay,
if you're looking to lower the fence to 4 feet, I think that has something to do with what they wrote. So it's a separate letter in the back, I believe it's on page.
I think what you're missing is they're not lowering the fence elevation, it's just the amount of wood fence being built, but the elevation is higher than was originally proposed. I think is what the board's
Top
saying.
of yeah, I see the line drawing to their house. Looks like it would be, they gain 3 feet than the 8-foot fence. Okay, all right,
Small paragraph.
okay, thanks. Were you talking about what's gonna happen along Hall Road?
Yeah.
Phase 2.
Phase 2.
Is that that piece right here? This is, they're adding this. That's
Yeah,
that
that's the original plan, little pieces of fence and then some.
here and here?
Yeah.
That's phase 2? Yeah, no,
Yep.
so that's phase 2.
Yeah, over there, yeah.
So,
And nothing's been done, yeah,
and that doesn't impact the neighbors, so.
no, I'm less worried about that.
Joyce just brought it up, or somebody
Okay.
brought it up as a question of why does it have to be done in phases? So I just want to make it clear for Ray,
Yep.
so that when they come back,
We don't pull a.
we
don't
don't.
surprise them.
Yeah.
That section, Joyce, doesn't impact the neighbors, it's just really the visual from Hall Road.
Which is sort of a big visual.
So,
It is.
Visual?
I just don't understand why it's that much more of a burden compared to having this happen on.
It's just the time frame because they don't want to be in there with excavators during camping season. You know, it's just disruptive for
They
everybody.
can't get
around.
it done in
Because
May.
how long did the people have used the property for, till October?
No, September, I think Columbus Day is, no,
No, we close October 1st,
October 1st.
Oh. And when do you open?
May 15th.
Not a lot of time to get
'Cause
stuff.
this is, you know, it's, right now we have snow, which isn't gonna melt until.
Me.
So there's an awful lot they gotta try to get accomplished with this and also the campground. You know, they gotta, get that up and running.
I could
So that's
live
kind of
with
why
that.
we were asking for the 2
okay,
phases.
so
Were you, Joyce?
I said I can probably live with that.
have we been clear enough?
Yeah, I
that
mean,
you can come
Scott,
back with a
I
plan
don't know.
showing
I think it was you who brought it up.
that would look?
It's still 2 phases.
What?
It's still 2 phases, is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Okay, everyone's good with
Is
2
that-
phases?
Yeah, you
You
didn't
okay
have
with
any
that, Scott?
intention on working on phase 2 at this point, right?
Fall,
Well,
it's
that's
fall,
project.
that's fall.
Right, but it's the
You were
same,
just saying
it's
it was
all part
hard
of the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Right.
So
That's, I think originally a 6-foot fence along the front.
But
it
Jamie,
was, originally it was, like a fence and then some trees and then a
Right,
fence,
yeah.
right. Yep.
so Jamie, how would that work? If they take care of phase 1, you'll give them a conditional CO? And
Correct. Temporary, partial, conditional. Typically, what we require is the engineer record signs off that the improvements have been constructed per the plan.
And so they would need to have that finished before May 15th when they open, so May 1st.
If they're going to use that, yep.
Subdivision, was it 18.5, you could require a financial bond of some kind, but I don't think that's required.
That's certainly up to the board.
It's in there, it's in the ordinance, we can require that if we want to.
oh, you're talking for phase 2?
Performance bond in lieu of occupancy.
I mean, I think. So if-
I think it may be a reasonable option because of the situation, the financial situation. It may be a reasonable option if they're interested in it, and the board agrees that that may be a reasonable option for them to occupy the space, earn money, and do it. Give them time, but it's up to the board.
And if they don't do it, the alternative is you don't, because they can't use the campground the following season. That would fall.
This is the sticky part about bonds. Is the town going to go in and build that out?
I'm
Take,
talking against the bonds. Say we don't do a bond.
oh, yeah.
The leverage we have is the following season, they can't use it.
No, for phase 2?
Yeah.
Yes, correct. We either,
But that's a big MRI.
put a chain across or whatever, whatever mechanism.
Done not next fall, but by next.
Correct.
By next May.
Well, they don't do it in the fall, it doesn't get by May, they can't use it.
Right.
So it really has to be done this fall.
So it's a pretty big camera, I don't think we need a bond, to me.
So if I got everything right, we're dressing up the campground side of the berm, soils, mulch, junipers as proposed. Top of the berm, same thing, dress up with the soil. We have the 4-foot fence, 6-foot fence. We have some plantings up top, dress up the backside of the berm, with stabilization, some kind of, phase 2 is good. I mean, is it something that where we're pretty well set now, this is what what we're gonna do, that we can get conditional approval upon that being met? Because I think right now we've pretty much hashed it out as to exactly what you guys want to see.
I mean, there's never any guarantees, we get public input or whatever, but I think the board is disposed to say yes to that, something like that.
Well,
That's my reading.
I was
I
saying,
think Ray's asking if he can get the approval right now.
right, and basically, so we get the conditional approval based on these
Without-
changes that we just discussed.
I would like to see something.
Because that way they can get started sooner once they can.
Well, they can sort of take out this bad stuff now. I would like to see something to approve, to me.
They're not gonna start anything.
So when's the next meeting?
2 weeks.
Month.
I mean, they haven't been doing anything with an open approval, so why would they not work with a non-approval? I don't, so they've got an approved plan that they can work against, so no one's gonna go
Hey,
and give them
I was trying. I didn't want to come back.
I will say, I'm gonna wanna make sure that there's some type of notation that phase 2 is gonna include cleaning up the berm as well.
Right.
Because that's still, with only a few sections of fence and those few trees, that's still visible from Hall Road.
Yeah, and the same thing there, it needs to be at a better slope.
Proper slope and address.
That might be easier to irrigate too, since it's along the road and it's close to the campground water
Probably
facilities.
can get runoff off the road. Let's worry about that.
Yeah, well,
I guess what leaves a bad taste in my mouth is I just wonder, it seems like there's no issue. Say he came in, didn't do what he was supposed to do. We're now reacting to what he didn't want to do. No one's really happy. It just seems like why would anybody necessarily do what we wanted, what they're approved to do? They can just go do what they want.
Getting a lot of that lately. The last guy we had didn't want to do the lights. He knew he had to do it. He just decided he didn't want to do it. Getting a lot of that lately.
Yeah, but we're not,
we're
we're rolling with the flow here with that. We're essentially saying, well, this is what he did. We're not going to make him bring it back to the way it should have been. I mean, there's no penalty here at all.
Well, I mean, I think for us, we don't get independent. That's Jamie's territory anyway. So I think, our thing is to approve a plan or not approve a plan. And if it doesn't approve a plan, then it goes to code enforcement. He decides what to do. So,
And we didn't approve the plan he brought before us.
so that's.
Would you prefer it be bonded?
I don't know that does. I don't know what the solution is.
Yeah, and to be fair, any site poses certain challenges in that there's field changes and different applicants have different experiences with construction performance. And so there's the same expectation I would put on SUR, for instance, versus a homeowner is miles, expectations. But I think the board, from your perspective, has to deal with the case in front of you and try to set aside some of the knowns that are chomping at the back of your neck. And so you look at and if it's a good alternative, try to, forget that what happened in the past and say, this is an approvable plan. And I would have approved it if this was the original. Or if it's not, don't compromise and say, no, I wouldn't approve this, do X, Y, and Z, or do the old plan. So I think that's the perspective to take and not, because, I get chapped daily from builders. So I think it's reasonable to be.
And I think at this point, the owner's been made aware that there's no more leeway. So what comes
No.
before us will be
Yeah,
done.
I think it'll keep coming before us.
Well, I mean, generally, the campground's been a corporate citizen. They pay a lot of taxes. They don't put any kids in school,
No,
so
I'm
they're.
not- I just.
We generally try to work with people if we can, and I think this is one of those times where you have to stretch a little bit to work with them.
Yeah, I get it.
so we want them to come back in a month with a plan? That's an agreement, everybody kind of consensus on that. Okay.
Read.
I'll make a motion that we have the applicant come back in a month with
Are we continuing it? You make a motion to continue?
continue. Yep.
Second.
No more surprises that I need to know about now before next time?
Life is full of surprises.
I think as long as everything's addressed,
Okay, so,
spelled out and addressed in the
Okay.
plan.
No, I don't know.
No, we do. We
we're in
meet.
March
Yep.
already.
Yeah, we meet.
It's gonna be right at the beginning of April then.
Yeah. First Tuesday in April.
All right, thank you.
Why, we don't have another meeting in March?
That's a work session.
Well, we have a work session.
You want to do them in the work session?
I mean, it doesn't bother me.
That'll be on the 17th of March.
No, that's
April-
St. Patrick's Day. That's
April
Monday.
7th, right? Barbara, would you, Barbara's online, you can, I don't know if she has any issues, I mean, any issues with
What, the third?
the March meeting?
Days?
Is it really?
Is it what?
I thought St. Patrick's Day was Monday.
Doesn't matter to me, I'm cruising.
You continue.
He won't be here, so.
But I haven't voted yet.
All right.
Motion to-
Is the 17th okay?
March, okay.
March 7th.
Yeah. Right, yeah. Okay, everybody agree March 17th will be okay?
Works for me.
Sorry.
I might not be here.
I know I'm not going to be here. Take care, Rick.
Vote on the continuance?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Did we vote? Oh, no.
Yeah, we gotta vote on this.
Thank you,
Good.
Scott.
Okay, the motion was made.
Yes.
Yep.
Kathy Holloway.
Chelsea, right?
All right.
Crystal, okay, everything you need? All right.
God, but-
Go.
Man,
Take a motion to adjourn.
wait a minute.
Yeah,
I think
we're-
people are here
we're
for
gonna be
other
all
things
night
here.
soon. It's snowed in.
All right, next guy
I know
on
the
the
people for
agenda.
the next one. This isn't gonna be good.
Action, item number 5, map 219, lots 19 and 18 in the general residential district.
When you go on like that, it's usually a joke.
James Griffin and Gary and Deborah Briand.
Straightforward.
And this is the one where people had the plans left in their place.
Oh, right, yep.
Oh. Thank you.
This is different than what we were given.
Did you get one, Joyce? Joyce, you.
Oh, great, thanks.
Oh, thank you.
I'll share with Bob.
Different than-
No, I'll share with this guy.
We're gonna deny it anyways.
I never thought we'd get to you, right?
Here's the big one.
All right. Hey, welcome.
How are you?
Good.
Bob?
Okay, just give a brief outline of what you want to do.
My name's Jim Griffin. I own 152. Gary owns 142. We're butters. Basically, we just want to swap the same amount of land,
Yep,
so I don't take away his current
Yep.
property.
so that'd be parcel A and parcel B, just do a
Yes,
swap.
correct.
Yep.
And on the smaller ones, you can see it on the big one better, but I just circled,
Yep.
put rings around them
Yep.
to simplify it. It's the same amount, it's the same exact amount of area. And I have no problem giving it, swapping it, because the lot, originally, they're going at an angle. They're going at an angle. When I purchased this land, I thought it was straight too, and I was gonna use that. Going over onto his property would be meaningless for me, and why would I do it to him anyway? So we just decided to swap it. He said he would pay for the surveyor to put all this together, and for the, whatever charges you guys cost them.
So what happened? You didn't know where the lot lines were? Basketball
No,
court
we've
got
been
put
there-
on?
Deb and I have been here almost 30 years.
Yep.
And when we bought the house, we're in our early 20s, and they said you got telephone pole to telephone pole and
Yep.
up the hill. So we just assumed all those years, that's where it went, and the lot was open next to us. And then as we got a little bit older, decided to put the pool in and stuff, we put a basketball court
Yep.
there in the back for the kids, and it just happened to be over the lot line, because once it was surveyed and it was at such an angle,
So what prompted this survey?
I
when he
I
purchased
have,
the
I,
land,
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
That's the new house that was just built.
Yeah, I did, yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've got the map up on the screen if that helps anyone.
Oh, perfect, yeah.
Reference points.
Yeah. I mean, then you can see where I'm gonna build, it goes straight up, and then, I mean, it starts getting real steep. If you look at the, I forget what they're called right now, the elevations. So, I mean, I was just gonna go straight back, make a nice backyard, and I can't go up anymore, and to go, straight across. And it's his property, I think it's halfway up. It came across, and where I'm gonna come up, I've got that, I don't have the short answer properly. I mean, again, I was gonna go how straight up anyway, so, but just can't make,
I applaud neighbors coming in with a plan everyone agrees on.
yeah.
Scott may want to drop the hammer on you. He was wrong all along.
Last time I was here, 3 years ago, I was on Stagecoach Road, and I wanted to go from the driveway on 129 to Stagecoach Road.
And from 126.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, and I had to go to the zoning board too.
Yep.
The then road agent didn't like it. So anyway, and then I got applauded when I went to the zoning board, saying that's a safer way. And then you guys took about 5 minutes to
Right.
do the
Yeah, I
same
remember that. It
thing.
was, yeah. It
Yeah.
was going down that hill with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
tough in
I
the
think we're gonna
winter.
be 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
Okay, any other questions here? I have none.
Yeah, it's the right approach. It doesn't meet the
Jamie, do you have
regulations.
anything?
the
you'd
zoning.
like to comment? And-
Things happen.
We can set this as complete. Can we do that?
I'm not-
Certainly do that.
Yeah, because it is an application.
Usually-
So I make a motion that we accept the application as complete.
Second.
Roll call.
Shepherd, aye.
Happy LOI?
Tessie, right?
Al and I.
Driscoll, aye. And then we go right to a motion to grant the lot line
Did you do
adjustment.
public comment?
Oh, yeah.
Do we need a public comment on our lot line revision?
Oh, can't hurt. Anybody like to comment on this? It's online or nobody's waving the hand here, so.
Comment close.
Jamie's still,
Barbara said accept application. I'm not reading her chat, she's trying to.
oh yeah,
steer
thanks.
us along. Thank you, Barbara.
Tell her we appreciate her kibitzing here.
Make a motion, we approve the application for lot line revision.
I'll second that. Roll call.
Shepherd, aye.
Happy LOI?
Tessie, right?
Al and I.
Driscoll, aye.
thank you.
Okay. At least you were entertained for an hour or so from the last one.
Yeah, sorry about that last one.
They enjoyed themselves.
My thought on that is.
Everyone says it until they get their decision, then they tell the truth.
Conform to the,
So what's like a new thing from the town, showing a new map all the way out, or nothing?
Nope, that's it.
If we surveyed it, that's it.
You're all set.
Thanks.
To record that in the registry of deeds or?
Someday overlay it.
Okay.
You know, they're drawing show the pin locations, and that's what we need, so.
Okay, next one is our business, I guess. Item B, vote on proposed conservation subdivision amendments. If,
Next case in front of that one.
oh,
Yeah, let's do that.
oh, yeah.
We have
Private road.
private road.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Oh,
unless you want to wait.
well, that was, yeah, okay, I was following this. All right,
Did I
all
miss
right.
that?
We're going to 5C, as in
There was some
Charlie.
mistakes made about that.
Hello,
How are you?
good.
Okay,
Tell us what you're here for.
so we're looking to put this berm in, and I heard you guys know what berm is. How high? Okay, we're on a private road. It's Hemlock Lane. I don't know if you're
Oh,
familiar
yeah,
with
we
it,
know
Barrington.
Hemlock. Yep,
We're building a home. We need to do 10% of the house price,
yep.
which is 400. You received a package with the numbers and everything in it.
Yep.
One of
got
the
it
other
here.
things you didn't receive here, I don't understand why not. Witcher is building it, and Matt Huckabee is the one who wrote this up. Do you know Witcher Builders?
Witcher, I think he was there in another one
Out of
on
Stratford.
one of these roads. It
Oh,
might have
okay.
been Hemlock,
Matt Bird.
maybe a
No,
year
I-
ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, yep.
So what we want to do is, as you come up our road,
Yep,
It's a blind road. It comes up like this. So if you're coming up, you can't see the people coming down.
Okay,
I had the road agent, Mark, come in last fall, and we talked about what we can do on the road, and he suggested cut trees down, but you don't want to cut trees down in front of other people's houses, which isn't right.
Right.
Break up some rocks. The top of a rock might be 3 foot wide. But like Mike said, it could be 20 feet wide on the bottom and 10 feet down. It's $2,500 a day for the tool to break up rock or ledge.
wow.
So if you're doing 10 days, that's $25,000 for one rock, maybe. You're not guaranteed, but if you see some of these rocks around here, they're big.
How much do you have to take down to make it
So
better?
we're gonna take down 3 feet,
3 feet.
at least 3 feet.
Yeah.
You're gonna be hitting ledge. We are gonna be predicting that there will be ledge and there'll be rocks on the right-hand side. And everything's gonna be done on our side of the road, not the neighbors across the street, Chris Carr's.
Okay,
It'll be much better for the road. We're also putting a driveway, and as you see, a new septic system.
yep.
We
I
tried
see that.
fixing up the house. The septic system in the house is old and everything else
Yep.
with a lot of repairs. So this is the best,
So you're taking the house down
yes,
Yes.
completely?
yeah, to fix it up, yeah.
Yeah, it's not in the greatest shape. We got buckets in the house for drips. And we're also doing a culvert.
But yes,
Putting
in
a
there also is a,
culvert That's there, but needs to be,
the hole is there for the culvert, but there's no pipe.
we're not sure where it goes. So we're gonna put a new culvert in
Okay.
and slant the road away from the lake so that when it drains,
Oh,
it
okay.
drains
Drains
away
better.
from the lake, which all satisfies the 10% rule. Private road.
All right.
We've been working on this for a year.
Almost 2 years, actually.
You're getting close then. Any comments by the board? You see the.
I mean, it's good, except I think the estimates are pretty strong. I mean, you know, a culvert, $700, an excavator for a week, $24,000. I mean, that just seems like a lot more than I'd be expecting.
Well, Public Works, everything looks good to me here, said our new Public Works Director, Mike.
Well, just a point of, you know,
Yeah.
they're gonna replace the culvert just beyond their house. Generally, I don't have a problem with that, that's not part of the policy, it's supposed to only improve up to the property. But if they wanna go beyond it, that's a trouble spot. I don't think that's a showstopper to me.
No, I agree.
It's not.
Anything to improve the road. That's my
Right, and it
attitude.
said anything 50 feet beyond your home.
Exactly.
Is it-
Yeah?
Yeah, 50 feet beyond. Not being a wise guy, please.
No, no.
I've been in Jamie's office every day for 6 months.
And unfortunately with the rock thing, it's one of those things like the last applicant you saw was, you know, they amended the language from try to do because you don't know. I mean, you may get, this is one of those ones where they might get lucky or they may not and spend, you know, 10 days out there hammering that to get it down 3 feet. So it's hard to estimate things like that. And so I think, you know, Mike, I talked to Mike and he thinks that, I mean, worst case scenario, that's a real estimate. Best case scenario, they're going to save a ton of money, you know, and for a resident of the town, I think best case scenario is always good. You know, the goal is to improve the road, and if it improves the road and they save a couple bucks,
Big
you know.
thing is getting the new septic system.
Yeah,
near the lake.
and I do want to point that out, you know, and I had recommended they put that in there as additional work. They're doing pervious surfaces
Yeah, I see that.
with a pretty impressive septic system that's gonna, you know, it doesn't really do the roadway, but it does benefit the lake infrastructure, you know, and I go back to like the Flower Drive approval where, you know, he was doing a retention pond to help the lake water. So, you know, it isn't road improvements, but we've looked at them in the past, so I recommend them. They chose not to do that and tried to find other work that they could do specific to the road.
Septic requirements not part of our ordinance. That's new.
Right, oh, yeah, but they're doing it, you know, and they're going above and beyond and spending a lot more money on a system they don't. They could have put a conventional system in that passed, but to put all the pervious surface and stuff so it absorbs the water and they, you know, Mr. Berry
It's
designed a
actually
pretty
good on
impressive
the
system.
lane coming in from
Yeah,
Brewster Road,
It's
impervious
a
all.
pretty, it's a pretty high number, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
But-
Agreed, it is a high number.
Can I speak to that? Want to, any more comments before I open it to public comment? Okay, open it to public comment. Come on up.
Hi, I'm Dave Whitten. I'm the vice chair of the road association.
Okay,
I do a lot of maintenance on the road,
yeah, I think I saw you with the Witcher was working on something on.
maybe. We did 2 new culverts over the last 3 years on the road. We got a quote from a contractor for $10,000 each. So you can say it seems high, but we got a quote from a contractor that was actually building the Kramer's house. He was on site with his rig, and he quoted us $10,000 each. So
They didn't want to do it.
so my neighbor Ray has a little backhoe, and Jim and a bunch of us on the road, we dug it up, put it in the culvert ourselves. So whether or not you can say the price is high, I didn't think that estimate was that far off.
Okay.
And what he's doing to the road is definitely gonna make it a little easier to manage. I do a lot of maintenance on the road. I have a tractor with a rake, and we do all the raking. We put down stone. We take care of the road. The neighborhood lights it. We maintain the road between myself and Ray Damaris, who lives just up the road from him. And
So you approve these changes and you're aware of them and you approve of them?
it was our idea.
Yeah, okay, great. You know, because you need the approval of the road association, because you're not authorized to go
Oh, no,
there.
no.
So
Yeah,
the
we
fact
went-
that they're on board is.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ray is also approved of it. We talked about it with Mark, who was the road agent,
Yep, before, yeah.
before. And,
Make 'em-
you know, the 3 of us talked it over, actually, the 4 of us talked it over, and it seemed like a good idea to.
Bob's ready to go, so.
Oh, okay, we're sorry.
I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna
I
make a
think it's good for you.
recommendation
It's good
that
for
we,
Give the
give the letter of recommendation to the select board to approve as written.
I'll second that. Roll call.
Thank you.
Bye.
That's your eye.
So the
Ellen.
selectmen have to go, we have to go
You have
through
to
this
come,
again?
so
You're
you'll
the
see
only
me.
ones that can really authorize it. All we're doing is giving our advice and comments.
And now you gotta go to the select board
Yeah,
meeting.
it's one more step.
Then
My experience on the
Barbara
select
will
board is
send a
that,
letter to the select board and at the
She's on the
next
select
meeting.
board.
You're on the select board.
right,
yeah.
and, you know, we do look at what the planning board said about it and their
So it's
approval.
the same kind of scenario. We come in, we present again to the select board.
But presumably because we said okay,
Okay.
they're not gonna
Yeah,
interrogate you.
and if he doesn't want to come, a letter of
Generally,
support, a
it's
letter of saying that they
Pretty straightforward.
authorize this work, for you to do this work on their behalf or whatever.
Yeah.
Is if he doesn't want to attend.
Work with checkbox
Oh, okay.
exercise.
So
Bob,
we
you can
just
leave.
come and-
You're the only one.
We just don't want to say, yes, you can modify the road when the road association has the authority, only has the authority.
Oh, no,
work
no.
on
It's
the
a
road.
small, yeah.
Yeah.
we-
So
yes.
we're just covering the town.
Yeah, sounds like you've
appreciate
all worked it out.
So, one
So you
quick,
guys say yes, you give that to the select board, and then the select board says.
They're actually the approving,
Yeah.
they're the
You're the only
approving
one that can
force.
issue a building permit
That'll be the final step.
On,
And that's the final
Okay,
step.
and
on a
when does
private
that
road.
so there's another meeting.
Correct.
That's another reason.
I want to say.
They're gonna,
April 15th?
April?
yeah,
So another month.
Yeah, I don't think you'll get it for,
I think you only have one meeting that month, it's April 13th.
So can you put us on that right now?
I cannot, that's another person's, I tried last week to get you on that, and she said not until tonight's.
we have to do this step
but
first.
you'll get on it. That's enough time. to
I'm
get
sorry,
on
Ernest,
our
what?
schedule.
We will
Well,
give
let
them-
Ernie's talking. Go ahead.
Right, this is the letter. I just
Okay.
filled in who made the motion in the second, and we'll give it to them tomorrow. And I'm sure they'll get you on the agenda.
Okay.
And they'll give you a call or whatever they
And I
do.
can't remember a time they've said no and we've said yes, right?
I can't
I
either.
can't remember.
Not my time on the board.
Looking good.
Yeah.
I know
Thank
it's
you very
one more
much.
step. It's
Okay.
not good.
I mean,
but you're
this
looking
is
They
the more
seem to
difficult.
trust us for some reason.
Oh, okay, this is the hardest part? Okay.
Yes.
good. Yeah, we're tougher than them.
Am
Knock
I
the
supposed
house
to say
down.
that?
I don't know.
Pardon?
what
Can we
whole
knock the house
process-
down now?
Yeah,
Like I said,
We're not
Tomorrow.
knocking it down.
you
until
always have the
the
right to
last
knock it
meeting.
down. Like
Snow's gonna
the
fall
assessor
in
said,
my
put a
home.
boulder through
That
it,
could
and
Supposed
then
to be
we
53 degrees.
point
tomorrow.
taxes for next year.
Believe
Could
that?
happen.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, take care. Good luck.
With the project.
So one last thing, we're out of
Yeah, we got our stuff, right? So,
the conservation subdivision.
conservation.
One more question, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Now, the package you have, does that have to go to the select board next?
We take care of everything.
You take care of it.
You're all set.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just gonna get you that DocuSign, which we talked about. You give me a
If the
call.
weather's good tomorrow.
I'm all done.
Oh, you're just sending the DocuSign to,
Yeah.
okay, perfect.
Okay, the final thing on the agenda is the update on the conservation subdivision thing.
Why are we looking at this? Didn't we approve this already?
Yeah, we changed the last line on the old one. We took out
Which
in
one?
the very end, right?
Can you point out which line that
Yeah,
was?
she took out the.
It was discussing asking for money or something from the applicant. We couldn't decide on what to do.
So we're not gonna ask them for
But we didn't
stewardship
know how
fees?
to do it.
Yeah,
You know,
okay.
we went back and
We should-
forth. So somebody said, why don't we just skip that for now?
Conservation Commission, because she come forward with some language, they really should.
That's what she suggested.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I have one
Nope.
issue, but I'm willing to let it go.
Okay, Bob, I'm ready to adjourn.
The sign just says, official signs will be installed along the boundary of the common open space prior to site clearing development activity begins. There's no spacing requirements every, 50 feet there's no language that says how many signs have to be put, visible. It's lacking.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a. Yeah.
Already.
No, we could look at it and I can certainly bring it back to you, but I mean, I wouldn't, right now would be a really good time to approve those so that you have something in your subdivision
Okay.
regulations that match your zoning changes you made last year.
And
There's
then
other changes
come
we
back
have
with that
to make.
later. Come back with that later. Yeah, something we
Does
can.
that sound good?
We can subdivision anytime we want.
Sorry, 2 questions. Parking when deemed necessary by the planning board, it just seemed weird because it was supposed to be all part of the negotiation, right?
Well, this
Did
kind of
we-
opens it up to, we can negotiate with them.
Right. We might not ask for parking in
Okay.
certain spots.
Yeah.
And we,
Sometimes there's been instances where it's inappropriate.
Like the land that went to the Swains Lake Water Association. The neighbors didn't want any parking because they didn't want strangers there, so we didn't ask for it.
Okay, and the other one, just quick, was it is strongly recommend that applicants begin the design process as follows. Is it, if they don't do it, are we gonna be happy?
was that,
So it's on the first, in 10.1, the last sentence of that first paragraph. Article also outlines a 4-step design process and it is strongly recommended that applicants begin the design process as follows. It makes it seem like it's almost optional to me. You start where you want.
I mean,
Should just say, an applicant should begin the design phase as follows.
do we envision one that's simple enough that we don't require the 4-step process? I mean, they all gotta be what, at least 10 acres, how many acres, 30 acres, what's the acre? What's the requirement?
30 acres for
30
a
now.
conservation subdivision.
Yes.
I just
Not
asked, because we
small.
ran into this type of thing, what is it exactly we're requiring? And if we say strongly recommend, it doesn't mean we want it definitively.
Hold on, you gotta change the wording?
I mean, if you, again, I would recommend that you go ahead and.
Just approve this.
Yeah.
And we can always.
Same thing I did.
Bring back. Okay.
Later.
Approved.
All right, let's
Just
approve
bring it-
this, and any comments you might have, give to Ernie. And-
Subdivisions, we can change anytime we
Yeah,
want. Scott.
anytime we
Yeah,
want.
yeah, I get it.
Next meeting,
Yeah, I just
In
want
2
to
weeks, we
verify
could
the
change it, but you
consultants
won't
to
be
ask
here.
why they put it in there that way.
Yeah.
Because I think it was zoning.
yeah, if you have any comments, you'll be away for the work session, maybe just send those off to him.
No, no, it's a spacing, I mean, I'd add that in.
Okay.
Some type of,
Now, I know Self
Motion to
puts them on
adjourn?
the trees around their property, but I'm not sure how far apart. they
yeah,
go.
I know, I know if they do no hunting, there's a requirement for that, it's like a 50 feet, 100 feet. There's requirements, already, so.
Okay.
For most
That was
sites.
just, that's my idea, just to address the clear cutting issue that people were.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Okay, any old business, other new business, ready to take a motion to adjourn?
Did you?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, yeah, didn't we? Did we vote on this?
No.
Oh, let's make a motion.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Yeah, we're adjourning.
We adjourn?
We didn't adjourn. No, we didn't take a vote. Let's make a motion to accept these changes to the conservation subdivision regulations.
So, second,
Okay, Ron, second, roll call.
Shepherd, aye.
Jesse, your eye.
Ellen,
Driscoll, aye. Motion to adjourn,
Seconded.
roll call.
Shepherd, aye.
Jesse, your eye.
Ellen, aye.
Driscoll, aye. Thank you very much for being here, everyone. Thank you, staff.
So you're gonna stay.
That is.
Yeah, my